It's the CalebDMTG Show.
While we finish up this year's set review here. Artifacts. Bloodline Predator, 3 mana, artifact creature, shapeshifter, changeling. Neat. So whatever color pairing your artifact tribe is, or your tribal synergy deck is, you got another creature to add. As Bloodline Predator enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever another creature of the chosen type enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Bloodline Pretender. Yeah, so not a constructed card. It's not like Antheming. But it is a tribal payoff. And it's a tribal payoff that fits any of your limited decks. So if you're doing tribal stuff, you can draft this for sure. Just what Giants needed? I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. But it seems like a good card for elves or berserkers or warriors or whatever the heck you're doing. More cobbled support, exactly. You think it's gonna always make the cut, like in your sealed deck? If you're not doing tribal things, I don't think you're drafting this very highly. I think if you're drafting, then the tribal players at the table are gonna get this card most of the time. Because I don't think it's like quite good enough in the non-tribal decks to be worth taking over like a better creature. A card that's just like better with its base stats, or like a removal spell or something, you know? Adaptive see display? Yeah, but adaptive automation is a lot better than this card. This will not see constructed play. I'm gonna just make that call. I'm making that call right now. If you're talking about EDH, fucking any card will see play in EDH. Even the worst cards imaginable. There's someone out there that wants to play it just for like the sake of saying they've played the worst card imaginable. It's sort of Metallic Mimic. I'm super down on Metallic Mimic. This is worse than that card. Anyway. Colossal Plow. 2 mana artifact vehicle. Whenever Colossal Plow attacks, add 3 white, and you gain 3 life. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Crew 6. Yeah, so Crew 6 is a lot. I think if you're drafting this, you're doing the meme thing with the Ox, right? The Ox that can crew for its toughness. And that's cute and that's adorable, and it's probably good enough for limited if you can get both of them. But it's probably not good if you don't have both of them. Cruxar or Uro? Sure, but Colossal Plow isn't like constructed playable, right? You don't wanna put this in your constructed deck. Not if you're looking to cheese. Or not unless you're just looking to cheese, I guess. Plow deck, Plum good. Banturo, use the mana somehow. I guess if you play this on turn 2 and then Uro crew this, if you can use the mana, like you put an extra an extra lane into play with the Uro. So like 3 mana plus this, like play some 4-drop on turn 3. Combos within Soul Artifact. I mean, within Soul Artifact, you're getting more mana back than what you spent on it. Seems busted. Does not seem busted. like I'm talking through some Magical Dream scenarios, but the card itself does not come with value attached, right? It doesn't like draw a card. It needs other cards to be good. The other cards that we're mentioning that are like really good, like those don't need other cards to be good, yeah. I think this is a cheese card. They could like potentially win games, but overall, its average game is not going to be good enough, which moves it towards unplayable. Super fun though. Super fun, super cute. Alright, Cosmos Elixir. 4 mana for an artifact. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting life total. Otherwise, you gain 2 life. Yeah, I saw people talking about this for EDH, and I think that's probably the only spot it makes sense. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting life total. Like, is this ever better than a Planeswalker out of the sideboard? Is this good against burn? Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this is a main deck card. Because you're either, like, gaining life against someone trying to kill you, or you're drawing cards. Play in your Uro deck or whatever. You think it's good in multiples? Yeah, that's true. Like with the Karn Wish board. Sure, yeah, it fits there. You think it's awful for EDH? I mean, EDH has a bunch of different levels, right? I don't think anything can be awful for EDH. For 4 mana, this is worse than Plow. Well, this does something if you don't have a creature, right? Colossal Plow only works if you have a creature. Like the line I talked about with like evoking, or not evoking, well, playing Uro to crew it. Now you don't have Uro next turn. So the turn after, like the Plow is just in play, you know? Doing nothing. Whereas Elixir just like does stuff. You want to play Cosmos Elixir in the Plow Uro deck. I see. I see. You are gaining a lot of life with Uro into Plow attack. You think it needs to be in a life deck? Yeah, I don't know. There's cards in Standard that just gain you a pile of life. Like Uro, for example. I keep mentioning Uro. Uro also like draws its cards originally. Uro also like draws cards by itself though. Doesn't really need to combine with anything. Anyway. Funeral Longboat. 2 mana artifact vehicle, Vigilance Crew 1. 3/3. Some sweet art on that card. I like what's going on under the water. Real visually interesting. Yeah, so this card's good for limited, obviously. It's good to get to attack through most cards that your opponents are playing on turn 2 and 3. It's not busted. It doesn't have like flying or anything. The cool thing about vehicles in this format is that they give you a way to trigger your boast cards. Wait, no, boast cards have to attack. Just kidding. Does not do that. Filler for dwarves? Yeah, it might be filler for dwarves. I'm trying to think if there's like a deck that would want it for constructed. I can't really think of any. Let's move on. Goldvein Pick, 2 mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. And then equip 1. Yeah, it's more expensive. It's more expensive than that sword that just gives +1/+1, but like making treasure tokens isn't nothing. Overall, this card seems pretty fillerish too. The thing about like both Pick and Funeral Longboat is that there are some payoffs, right? There are payoffs for having like a bunch of vehicles and equipment in your deck. So they might overperform in the right shell. Oh yeah, they're both limited cards for sure. Maskwood Nexus. For a mana artifact, creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. 3 mana, tap, create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter creature token with Changeling. Yeah, I saw a lot of people shitting their pants about this. Wasn't there some, like, black card that did this? Or was it red? Some expensive thing. Some enchantment. that made like the cards in your deck all the same creature type. Conspiracy. I think that's what I'm thinking of. I think that was like a card that people used in EDH combos a lot. And that card's not obsoleted for EDH, right? Because you do only get to play one card. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I was thinking of. This is something different. It's Conspiracy enters battlefield. Choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards that aren't on the battlefield. Is this different? Creatures you control are every creature type. The same, or every creature type. So you're not choosing. They're just all shapeshifters. So potentially it leaves you open to more interactions. Side inverse slivers. Just steal all their sliver abilities. Yeah, I don't really play EDH. Just looking at this card for standard play, like 4 mana for this ability doesn't seem worth it. And then 3 mana to make it 2/2. Even though it's a changeling, it doesn't seem good enough. In Limited, this would normally be the sort of effect that you would just like put into a slower deck. The fact that you're making changelings is really relevant in this format, though. Like, creature types matter. It's not a shameful card to take early, for sure. Pyre of Heroes, 2 mana for an artifact, 2, sack a creature, search your library for a creature card. It shows a creature type with a sacrifice creature and has a convert mana cost equal to 1. Plus that creature's convert mana cost. Put that card in the battlefield and shuffle your library. Activate this ability only time you could cast a sorcery. Okay, so it's a pod. It's a pod, but it has to be the same creature type. That's kind of sweet. I like that the initial cost is 1 less. Yeah, Tribal Pod. I think people are going to try and play this card. It's not going to, like, see a lot of modern play or anything like that, like Breathing Pod did. Because you lose a lot of flexibility. Yeah, potting one giant creature into another is kind of sweet. Kind of a cool idea. There's enough elves in Standard that have, like, comes into play abilities that make this sort of interesting, too. Folks that have general questions about the set, like, what tribes do I like, things like that, try and save those for the end. I'll never finish if I stop to answer every question like that, but I'll give people a few minutes to ask stuff at the end. I'll try to answer as many questions as possible. Anyway, I can see Pyre of Heroes doing something for sure. It's obviously not as good as Breathing Pod, but Breathing Pod's pretty great. Humans, yeah. I mean, not in Modern, but maybe in Standard. Maybe. Alright, Reader's Carve. 3 mana artifact vehicle. Whenever Reader's Carve attacks, look at the top card of your library. If it's a lane card, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped. And Crew 3 is a 4/4. This is a good limited card. Yeah, I think this one's real solid. 3 mana for a 4/4 Crew 3 would be kind of lackluster by itself, but having a solid chance to draw a card, especially if you're like drawing a land into play, it's pretty sweet. Is this good enough for Pauper? I don't think so. Pauper is pretty powerful. I just like assume that most cards aren't good for Pauper. Pauper's a more high-powered format than people realize. Raven Wings, 2 mana, artifact equipment. Equipped bird, equipped creature gets +1/+0, has flying, and is a bird in addition to its other types. Equip 2. Sure. Get your flying, why not? Replicating Ring, 3 mana for a snow artifact. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a night counter on Replicating Ring. If it has 8 or more night counters on it, remove all of them and create 8 colorless snow artifact tokens in Replicating Ring with tap, add 1 mana of any color. Yeah, so this card's dirtily as shit. It's not the worst mana rock I've ever seen. Just because it's a snow artifact. So like a snow deck that's desperate to ramp. Play multiple colors and stuff. Could hypothetically play it. A lot of turns. A lot of turns before you get to pop off with Replicating Ring. You think too slow for Constructed? The thing, I mean, I've played 3 mana rocks in Constructed before. Talking about Standard specifically. So like if you have a snow deck that really wanted to curve out, I actually don't think this card's embarrassing. Like you play it and then you like play like the Snow Shock that turn, hit something, then you untap and you can play like the 5 mana, draw 3, scry 5, draw 3. Actually use the mana sum. I could see it. I don't think it's likely. Obviously it's not like costed. It's not like aggressively costed to push snow or whatever. But I could see it. Alright, Rune Crown. 3 mana for artifact equipment. When Rune Crown enters the battlefield, you may search your library, hand, or graveyard for a Rune card. Put it on the battlefield attached to Rune Crown. If you search your library this way, shuffle it, and equipped creature gets +1/+1, equip 2. This card's good. It'd be a little bit better if, like, either the cost or the equip cost was 1 less. But it's remember that it's drawing a card when it comes into play. Runes draw a card when they come into play, so you tutor the rune that you want for the Runed Crown. You get to draw a card, and then you have that ability on top of the +1/+1. So yeah, this card's solid. I imagine you could take this card fairly early, and that would be totally reasonable. Like imagine if you have the white rune in your deck. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and lifelink. Draw a card when the Rune Crown comes into play. I think that's super solid. Anyway, Scorned Effigy. 3 mana artifact creature Scarecrow, foretells 0. It's a 2/3. I do not think this card is playable. I do not. I can't think of a card or a deck where I would want to play this. If you're playing this in your limited deck, it could help you play 2 spells in 1 turn because of the foretells 0. So you play this face down, and then on the turn that you need to play your 2 spells to trigger it or whatever, it's like pretty easy to do. And I think that's the main advantage there. Withered Runestone, 2 mana artifact. Non-land permanent cards in graveyards and libraries cannot enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. Wow, so they were they were worried about the new birthing pod just destroying the format, huh? We got a hoser for it right here. New Cage? Yeah, I mean it costs 2 mana, so I don't know if you're gonna be excited to play this in older formats. But it's nice to have hosers in Standard. You think it's about Uro? It could be about Uro. Alright, Alpine Meadow, Snowland Mountain Plains. It has a whole cycle of snow duels. They all look gorgeous. They are fetchable, but they also come into play tapped. In Legacy, I don't think you're playing these, right? Because you have Astrolabe anyway. There's just no reason, even though they're fetchable. In Modern, Astrolabe got banned. I don't know if that's enough reason to play them. Maybe you like play one of the island one of the blue-green one or whatever. There's Snowlands. I'm aware. They're huge for Pauper. Yeah, that makes sense to me. They're insane in Pauper. X-Guard Armory. X-Guard Armory. Enters battlefield tapped. Tap, add white. 1 red, red, white. Tap, sack X-Guard Armory. Search your library for an aura card. And or an equipment card. Reveal them. Put them in your hand, then shuffle your library. And or an equipment card. That's a lot of mana. That's a lot of mana to sack. I think the Armory is worse than the ones that put a creature into play. Because then you're like impacting the board the turn that you sack those, whereas this one you're like tutoring cards to your hand. I think there's a big difference there. That said, if the aura or the equipment card you're grabbing, like you could grab a Pacifism. We're just talking about for limited play with these cards with the uncommon cycle. If you're grabbing a removal spell like a Pacifism, then maybe that's fine. Like at the end of turn, you crack this, you get like a Pacifism and an equipment, you untap, you answer the best thing, run out of equipment. Doesn't seem bad to me. And then yeah, we got more of these flip lands. Could impact what people can play in standard, for sure. Open up options, open up color pairings. Kind of always a good thing, I think. Complete those cycles. Renegade Stronghold. Land comes into play tapped. Taps for green, and then for green, white, white. You can sack it to put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures you control. They gain Vigilance and Lifelink until end of turn. Activate this ability only anytime you can play a sorcery. Yeah, this card's also not terrible. Once again, you're not getting like a ton of lasting value. The 1/1 counters do stay around, and life gain is better in limited than it looks. You certainly play this if you're in green-white already, you know. Like all these cards are values, so if you're in the niche color that can play them and sack them and get value out of them, you're just gonna run them.
Oh shit! What up?
Oh shit! What up? Hey Tyson, thanks for the sub. All right, Faceless Haven is a snow land. Taps for a colorless, and then for 3 snow, it becomes a 4/3 creature with vigilance in all creature types until end of turn. Still a land. Yeah, obviously this card isn't as good as Mutavault, but it does have the snow type, and so now snow lands get a value critter that works really well for them. Vigilance is better on a creature land than it looks, right? Getting to attack and block if you have enough lands to activate it, or getting to attack and then use it for mana later because it's a land. Sometimes it means that the 3 mana to activate it is actually closer to 2 mana to activate it. Hey Polish Sniper, thanks for the sub, thanks for the 38 months. Can be fetched with Into the North? Yeah, stuff like that. Gates of Isfel. This battlefield tapped. For 2 white, blue, blue, you can sacrifice it to gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. We saw something really similar to this. We just had like a blue uncommon sack to draw 2 cards. That card was fine. A little clunky. I think it also came into play tapped. Again, you're gonna like play it if you're those colors, but you're not gonna take them like super highly, I don't think. We got another snow duel here. Blue-white. Not Vold Slumber Mound. As a land comes to play tapped. Taps for a red. 3 red, green, green. Sacrifice it, destroy target land. Get a 4/4 green troll warrior creature token with trample. So note this is 6 mana in tap. So you're not cracking this on turn 6. You need to have at least 7 mana, including itself. The art's really cool. It reminds me of troll sculptures that people have just like made in the woods and let the foliage grow around, let moss grow on and stuff. Those things actually exist and they're pretty fucking sweet. Yeah, I like having that value. I care much more about having the 4/4 body, about sacking a land to get a 4/4 body, than I do about destroying one of their lands on turn infinite, but I mean, if you're hitting one of their value lands, could be good. It's a lot of mana, but in sealed, if it's a slower limited format, you're just gonna get there, and if it's sealed, you're always gonna get there. So once again, like if those colors, I think you just play it. It's just free enough. Great Hall. Enters battlefield tapped. Taps for a black. White, white, black. Tap, sack it. And a creature you control. Get a 4/4 white Angel Warrior creature token with flying and vigilance. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. So this is really good if your opponent displayed like a pacifism style effect on one of your creatures. Both blue and white have those auras that turn off your stuff. So this is gonna be really good against those colors. It's also good if you just like have things that you don't mind sacrificing. Because sacking a shitter to make a 4/4 flyer is quite strong. The reason they have this one be only as a sorcery is they don't want you to be just like responding to a removal spell to generate a 4/4. Or do like the block sack thing. They want to make sure that you're actually paying the cost, actually sacking a creature that you care about most of the time. This art on Mistgate Pathway is pretty sweet. I like it. More snow duels. More snow duels. Emister Skullkarn. Taps for a black, enters tapped. 1 black, red, red sack. Deals 3 damage to target player. That player discards a card. Activate only as a sorcery. Wow, this might just be like the worst of these, huh? This is one where I might actually not want to play this because I don't want to like have it enter the battlefield tapped awkwardly when I'm trying to curve out. It has a very like murder you ability, but if your land is coming into play tapped, that might hinder your ability to like curve out and murder them. A lot of the time I am going to still play this anyway, but I do think it's a lot worse than the other ones we looked at. Liara Mirror Lake. Enters battlefield tapped, has for blue. 2 green, green, blue. You sack it to create a token that's a copy. Target creature you control, except it enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. Activate this ability only anytime you cast a sorcery. Well, that's super worth, right? Clone your creature, it gets a 1/1 counter. Yeah, this card's good. Port of Carfel, enters battlefield tapped, has for blue. 3 blue, black, black, sack it. Mill 4 cards and return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So you can sack this on their end of turn. You're not going to get a surprise blocker because the creature comes into play tapped. By the time you actually get to sacrifice this, milling yourself 4 might be really brutal. The card is almost better without that. Usually the self mill before you reanimate is good because it gives you more options. But like by the time you have 7 mana, there's probably already a good creature card in your graveyard, and there's a really good chance that milling yourself 4 is detrimental.
Oh shit! What up?
You want to play this in blue-white control? I do not want to play this in blue-white control. You're going to have lands that come to play tapped already, in Constructed. I don't think any of these are good in Constructed. You're going to have lands that come to play tapped already. They all have very steep activation costs. They're almost all good in Limited, because they all give you some kind of value, and your games of Limited are going to last a while. There's going to be games where you stall out, you can do a board stall, and just like having your lane do something is going to be amazing. With Constructed, you're way more likely to be punished by your land coming into play tapped. Hey, Pony Slay Station, thanks for the sub, thanks for sharing the Prime, the 31 months. Alright, Shimmerdrift Veil, Snowland, enters battlefield tapped. This battlefield, choose a color. You can add 1 mana of the chosen color. This is sweet. So it's kind of like a Snow Evolving Wilds, right? Comes into play tapped, you choose the color. This is a really good one to have in common. I like this land a lot. And you don't have to shuffle like you would for Evolving Wilds. Elder Hall, enters the battlefield tapped. Tap for a green. 2 black, black, green, sack it. Tap and sack it. Up to 1 target creature you don't control gets -2/-2 until end turn. Create 2 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. And of course you can activate this only as a sorcery. I think they could have let you activate this as an instant. Just keep it as a trick or whatever. It seems a little weak, right? Getting 2 1/1s. In Limited, your 1/1s are like, they have a good chance to be bricked by the opponent's board. Good chance to just not matter. Elves are trying to swarm, of course, and this is in the elves' colors, and you are making elves. So that's all good. Remember that because you have to tap most of these lands, they actually cost like 1 more than they look. Like you're not cracking this on turn 5, right? The earliest you're cracking this is on turn 6. It does have some value attached though. I would still play this card for sure, but it's not the best one. Not the best of the cycle. This kills an X4 if not sorcery. That's fine. So, you have to spend 2 colors and like 6 mana. And they have to be attacking with their X4 into your like onboard thing. Yeah, I think that's fine, friend. Sturtland Frostpire. His battlefield tapped. Taps for a red. 2 blue red. Tap, sack it. Scry 2. Frostpire deals 2 damage to each creature. I read this ability only anytime you cast a sorcery. Huh. Yeah, this one's also not very good. Not great. Sacking your land to scry 2 is not amazing, and the Pyroclasm's not going to be good against everybody. Once again, like you don't want to have another land coming into play tapped and constructed. And usually Pyroclasm is more of a constructed type ability. It could end up being good against elves. It could just be like a free roll, where you get to like kill all of elves 1/1s and win the game against them. And then against everybody else, it's like just a comes to play tap land that you board out, maybe. For limited, I mean. At 3 damage, you'd consider constructed? Yeah, no, that'd be closer. Even if you remove the Scry 2, right? Even if you remove the Scry 2 and it was 3 damage. It's still 6 mana, but then you're getting closer to like a Blasting Station style. Or not Blasting Station. Whatever, I don't remember the name. Tyrite Sanctum, land, taps for a Colorless. My brain is like actually fried. I've been going through so many cards. Taps for a Colorless, 2 tap. Target legendary creature becomes a god in addition to its other types. Put a 1/1 counter on it. And then 4 tap is sacrifice Tyrite Sanctum. Put an indestructible counter on target god. Cue the it sure is easy to become a god these days jokes. So you can keep on activating the first ability to keep on growing your legendary creature even after it's a god. Just every turn activate, give it a 1/1 counter. And then for 4 mana you can sacrifice it to make a god indestructible. Yeah, I don't know. Tapping for Colorless is obviously a drawback. It's obviously not nothing. I'm also not sure how many of the gods are actually going to see constructed play. But if you were trying to do some god tribal nonsense, or even if you're just playing a deck that had a few legends that didn't mind the buff, and you had room in your mana base, there are other like really good utility lands that you're competing with though. Even if you're monocolor, there's like the creature land that gets 1/1 counters. Activating that is probably better than like spending a few turns to turn your legend indestructible. Mono green legend tribal is going to be a deck. Maybe just casual. That's what you're saying. Yeah. So it seems more likely that this would be a casual card, right? And obviously, it fits that deck, but we don't think that deck is going to be competitive. And this card's not going to be competitive. If you're monocolor, you might want the snow land. Yeah, maybe. I think the 1/1 counters land is better than the snow land. If you're just like throwing one into a monocolor mana base. I think you play the snow land because you're snow. Mono green has the triple green 4/4. I don't think that triple green 4/4 is very good. It's not bad, but I think there's matchups where it just gets bricked because your opponent's playing larger creatures, but for like the same cost. I think that's a real issue. Make Questing Beast into a god. 5/5 Questing Beast kind of appeals to me. Football Flip of the God. It has so much text. Sure. And all of its text makes it worse than your opponent's 5/5. A book can be mighty thick and still not be interesting, right? Like, it still needs to do something of consequence. We got a fjord here. More snowlands. And then World Tree. A lot of cards are talking about this one. The World Tree enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for a green. As long as you control 6 or more lands. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. And then for the low price of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 mana on top of tapping and sacking the World Tree. So probably like 11 lands total. You can search your library for any number of god cards and put them on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Which is definitely sweet. I don't know how many gods you want to stuff into your deck. One of the gods ramps, right? The green god that we looked at earlier. That also has like a 5-color payoff. Yeah, God of the Tree. 11's a lot, though. 11's a whole lot. You use the 4-mana artifact. What 4-mana artifact? To make your creatures gods, is that what you're saying? Gigantha gets you there? Yeah, Gigantha does get you there. Yeah, I don't know if that's a just. Because now you're adding... Because I was talking about how I didn't want to put like a ton of gods into my deck to like jank it up. But like putting a 4-mana card where you have to pay 3 mana to make it 2/2, that's also janking it up. That's not really a solution, right? And now you have to draw that card before you sack your World Tree. I'm not sure how much of a combo that is, or how much of a how competitive that is. Same price as Door to Nothingness. That's true. I don't think it's fair to compare it to Door to Nothingness though, because you need to like play the Door to Nothingness and then either untap it or like untap with it and give the opponent like a full turn to have a removal spell for it, and then you're also investing a card into the door. The World Tree fixes your mana and then is also the payoff if you are sacrificing it, and that's what makes it appealing. But you're right, the very similar casting cost. It's actually 1 more because you have to sack the World Tree itself on top of paying the 10. It's not legendary. That's true. Yeah, you could have multiples of these in play. Makes it slightly more doable, huh? You like these set reviews? I enjoy doing them. My mouth is awful tired. It is a lot of talking. This one in particular. So we did. I don't think we did a full 7 hours yesterday because I cut out a little early and I started a little late. So it was more like 6.5 hours or something. And then today we started closer to 7, so it's been like 4 hours. It's been like almost 11 hours for a set review. Review the Snow Basics art? No. Whole lot of oral, exactly, yeah. Your tongue gets tired at a certain point. You just gotta push on through, though. If you don't push on through, then you've wasted the oral set review. People don't get the whole experience. And it's very unsatisfying. How have viewer numbers been compared to normal streams? Lower. Like, usually I would have like 1,700 people watching right now. We have like 1,300. But But that's totally fine. That's to be expected. Every time I do a set review, there's fewer people watching. Gameplay is more engaging. People can dive right in. Set reviews are a little intense, right? You're going through like literally every card. You're gonna limit your audience doing that. But the people that enjoy set reviews really enjoy them, and they like show their appreciation and stuff. And a lot of people that don't catch the review live will come watch it later or whatever. And as I've said a few times over the course of this set review, I learn a lot doing these. So like doing them helps me learn the set a lot better too. People point out when I'm misreading cards. People point out interactions that I'm missing. It forces me to like sit down and actually digest the entire set in a really detailed way, and interact and answer questions, and that I think that makes my content better. When I play with the new cards, when I play and brew and stuff, it gives me a lot of ideas and stuff. So I don't care about the viewer numbers that much. I still think they're worth doing. That's stream dependent fantasy. I switched over to having it be only subs could watch VODs on my channel when I started uploading my VODs to YouTube. So all the VODs from yesterday, all the colors from yesterday are on YouTube, and I edited out a lot of the gaps, right? So when you watch the VODs, you're not going to see like my bathroom breaks, or if I take a tank thinking about a card that's longer than like 10 seconds, I cut that dead time out. Stuff like that. A little bit more digestible.
Oh shit, what up?
This way bots can't really troll my my VODs if they're trying to like lift content or scan for like DMCA strikeable content or whatever. If bots are gonna fuck with me, then they have to pay me $5 to sub to my channel. And meanwhile, if I'm doing the work to put everything up on YouTube anyway, then I might as well funnel people over there, right? Hey, Game Peacock, thanks for the sub. Appreciate you. What is my favorite alt art? Oh, good question. I had an answer to that. Oh, I think it's the owl. I think it's that stupid owl. There's a lot of them where I really like the alt arts. Do they have them all listed here? Yes. Oh man, this one's really sick too. I don't know if I've really seen this one before. It's not colorful, obviously. It's like in this style for a very specific reason, but it's very effective. Usually I like high color cards. They're all so good. Oh man, Ian Miller. Ian Miller's hella good. He has a very distinctive style. You can like recognize it. He's done some old school Magic cards. I think like, what is it, Relentless Dead or Restless Dead? Also like a fairly well respected artist like outside of the Magic circle. Sweet card to bring him in on. Squirrel! Yeah, Vorinclex is sweet. It was really dark. The Judge of Valor. She looks like she's just like waking up in the pile of bodies. Oh, I like the serpent too. Yeah, in a lot of like old Norse art, Thor fighting the world serpent is like a very common thing to depict in old Norse art. So it's really sweet to see that scene, see it being paid homage to here. Oh man, that's a sick ass lich. It's a zombie wizard, but you know, the same thing. Yeah, this was my pick. This was my pick for my favorite of the alt arts, though. I think that owl looks really fucking cool. I think the original art for the owl looks cool too. Icewind Dale cover art? It does, yeah. You love the mono blue changeling mythics art. I like it a lot too. I actually used it as my thumbnail for the blue section. Yeah, the art direction has been amazing lately. Can I flip the art for Tybalt the God? Yeah. Where's that one? Jeff Miracola, very distinctive style. I always love his use of color. Richard Kane Ferguson-esque. Yeah, there's a few cards that are Richard Kane Ferguson-esque. Which one was I thinking? Orvar, I think. It was like a very similar style. Different from what Richard Kane Ferguson would do, but similar visually. Should I try and like drum up a top 5 ranking? I think this Tybalt card might see play in Modern, potentially Legacy. I'm certainly gonna brew with it. I'm certainly gonna like try and make Jund work, Jund or 4-color Sultai in Legacy. Being able to cascade into this, I mean, you could set it up with a Brainstorm too, right? And you can set up your cascade. Seems worth. Are these like masterpieces? Yeah, very similar. I think people are probably right. I think people are probably right about the 6-drop being like the best standard card in the set. Vornclicks. I think I might be coming around to their way of thinking. I think this card's going to see some play, some serious play. Yeah, 6 mana for a 6/6 trample haste is some pretty serious business. Get word pad up. We can do some, hammer out some top 5. We can figure it out right now together. Top 5 constructed. Should I do standard or constructed in general? Let's do constructed in general. Yeah, turning off the opponent's sagas. So, like, you're right, it does have protection from ECD. Protection from sagas. Halves the opponent's planeswalkers when it comes into play. And perhaps most excitingly, it has the doubling season effect on your own planeswalkers. So you can just play like an Ugin and ult it immediately. Or you can play a Tyvar Kel and ult it immediately, you know? Or power through your own sagas. So I think that's like an obviously powerful card. We're playing in a format where people are ramping pretty heavily. 6 mana for a 6/6 trample haste. Like, that's just like already good, right? You can already just like play it and pressure your opponent's things. It works really well with Fury Nissas. It works really well against opposing Nissas. You think Toski is great? I don't think Toski is making my top 5. Even if I think Toski's gonna find a home. Like, I think the card's good, but I don't think it's in my top 5. I think we were talking about a Saga as a top 5 card. Yeah, Retribution. Yeah, I like this one as like a Yorion Blink card.
What up?
Works well with other tokens. There could be some kind of a junk tokens deck. It's also really good with itself, right? It's really good in multiples. I think the best sagas are good in multiples. Hey, over at Whirls, thanks for the sub. Thanks for the 3 months. Seems like an FTK. I think it seems better than an FTK. Like, your FTK has flying. Your FTK has flying and makes it so that your earlier FTKs that you played get to murder another thing. And Vigilance. It's like if Sarah Angel also had an FTK stapled to it. And then, yeah, or Yorian blinking it, like, gives you more 4/4 flyers, which seems pretty good. I kind of want to list Agar, which is probably ballsy on my part. I'm gonna draw some fucking cards with this card. That's all I know. I don't know if that makes it... That's probably, like, isn't enough to make it, to, like, list it. But I know I'm gonna draw some fucking cards with it. I didn't think Imster and Predator looked good enough on its own. It's probably still not a top 5 card. It's probably a top 10 card. But I'm going to list it here just in case. Imster and Predator just matches up well against a lot of the best cards in the format. I think in a lot of other formats, this card would not be making like any kind of notice or list or whatever. But the fact that you can pop Uro out of a graveyard immediately the turn you play it, it's like immediate. You can like sack something to tap it, make it a 4/4 immediately, and then you're attacking and it's a 5/5 the next turn. And it just matches up well against like Questing Beast. You know, it just matches up well. It matches up well against the new Glorybringer, for example. So it matches up well versus Uro, Questing Beast, new Glorybringer, the Glory Blinger. What else? Pretty much anything, right? Fits red-black sack in general. So I have that in number 6 right now. But maybe it's a top 5 card. Maybe I'm underselling it. Oh, we mentioned Plow. We mentioned how good Plow was with Uro. We gotta put that in the top 5 list. You think it's going to see play outside of Standard? I don't think it will. Well, maybe Historic. Maybe it's good enough for Historic, just because it's, like, hard to kill, you know? But we were talking about it in, like, the Jund sack deck, maybe. The deck plays Coco, though, right? Doesn't that deck play Coco? The Jund food deck? I don't know. I don't know if I have any black cards making the top 5. Maybe the removal with Foretell. How boring is that? God, I want to put Bergie in. I'm gonna do some. This card might actually just be like the most busted thing ever, right? Playing it with any card you're considering for like paradoxical outcome or whatever. Any card that could be a Storm card. If it becomes a Storm staple, it's like, okay, yeah, that was that one. I was originally looking at this as just like another Ruby Medallion for Red Storm. And then someone was like, and now your Lotus Petal produces red. And I was like, ah, fuck. This is way better, isn't it? Rather than make your, like, red rituals better. Why not make your fucking 0 mana rituals better? Why not turn those into, like, actual... Yeah, I think Bergie could see play in Vintage, could see play in Legacy, and could see play in Modern, Historic, every format, you know? The fact that, like, the front side is a ritual and the back side is card advantage just makes it, like, a really sweet split card for combo decks. So I don't know if Bergie should be making the rounds. What do you think? Should I make the list? It's really hard to judge a card like this unless you've actually gotten to play with it, right? Because it could be a dud. It could be like just not good enough. Or if it is good enough, then it's just like the best constructed card in the set because it's played in every format. Yeah, this either like doesn't belong on the top 5 or it's number 1 or number 2. It's it's tricky like that. Boast twice? Yeah, I don't care about that at all. I don't care about the boast twice part at all. It's just like the other aspects of it. White Wrath in the top 5? Yeah, White Wrath is like one of the more impactful standard cards, right? Like people like kind of unanimously agree that that should be in there. I think Dragonkin Berserker should be in there too. Maybe like under the Wrath. Just a solid card. Just a solid card that I know I'm gonna play a shit ton of. Oh, and the Goldspan Dragon. I think most people have the Goldspan Dragon is more exciting than the Dragonkin Berserker. It's really a more exciting card. It'll probably be a standard staple. Yeah, I think that's just gonna like push Retribution out. I might have Goldspan Dragon higher than the Sweeper, actually. It's hard to predict. It's hard to predict like which color combination is gonna end up being better for like their standard runs, right? Nothing good in blue. Well, we're doing top 5 cards, so you're just like looking at like what's most exciting. Blue and black, I think, like have cards that are interesting for constructed, but a lot of them are like uncommons. A lot of them are role players, or they're like complete build arounds, like snow stuff, you know, that are super hit or miss for constructed. So it makes it hard to include them in top 10 lists. Not necessarily that they're bad or that there's nothing good in blue. What do you all think? Between Goldspan Dragon or the White Sweeper, what would you put higher? I'm willing to listen to the chat vote here. I know this is my review, but I'm split. I'm more excited to play the Dragon. Sweepers don't excite me that much. I think most people are more excited about Doomscar. Someone said, does the treasure only have sack 2 while the dragon is in play and sack 1 while it's not? I'm pretty sure it loses the sack 2 when the dragon's off the battlefield. This just becomes a normal treasure. Yeah, the static ability lets the treasure sack for 2. The vicious thing about Goldspan Dragon to me is like you're curving out with creatures and then the Goldspan Dragon gives you the mana to play your Embercleave right then. I think Goldspan Dragon's going to lead to a lot of turn 5 kills. Like 4 dragons, 4 cleavers, bunch of creatures. And then there'll be other stuff to do with that mana. You said Doomscar might have more impact, but it's nothing to write home about. A Wrath is a Wrath. Alright, I buy that. I buy that. I'm putting the dragon higher. Dragons are sweet. I saw someone was saying that these dragons tend to be like pretty strong if they have like value abilities and haste, and this one has all of those things. It's no Thundermaw. It's no Thundermaw. But you're comparing it to Thundermaw. Is it a Stormbreath Dragon? Stormbreath Dragon saw an assload to play. Yeah, I think the last time there was a 5-mana haste dragon that was bad was like the one that like gave your sorceries instant speed or whatever, the blue-red one. And that one was multiple colors and like it was hard to actually abuse the ability. Yeah, hypersonic. This card's clearly better than Hypersonic Dragon, though. You think Goldspan's better than Stormbreath? Yeah, I mean, Stormbreath was pretty fucking great. All right, I'll put it underneath the stupid sweeper. No, I won't. That's dumb. Fuck your sweeper. All right. Maybe a little bit of me hoping that the dragon is better. Maybe a little bit of Caleb D hope in there. Alright, so here's where I'm at right now. I have number 1 with Vorinclex, which is got protection from sagas. It halves the opponent's Planeswalker loyalty, ults walkers immediately. It's like absurd with and against Nissa. The fact that it's like just great with and against Nissa seems like it's gonna be a shoe-in to be pretty great in standard. It's a ramp format, so getting to 6 isn't that hard. And then like the haste attacking is really nice. You can like clear your opponent's walker, pressure them. And then the fact that you can just like play in all your walkers immediately. Like I've played the Doubling Season Walkers deck. I've played it in Legacy, I've played it in Modern. It's a powerful effect. If it wasn't just like a 5-mana do-nothing enchantment, right? If you're just like playing like a real card with that ability, that's also disrupting the opponent. It's hard for me to imagine Vorinclex not doing something in standard. Feels like Titan-esque in how good it is. Do I mean next turn? No, when you play the Planeswalker, it comes into play with double the loyalty. I am not. Yeah, you can Green Sun Zenith for Doubling Season with upside. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not talking about playing a Planeswalker and then activating it and getting more loyalty. I'm talking about when you play the Planeswalker, it will come into play with double the loyalty, because that's how Vorinclex works. That's how Doubling Seasons works with Planeswalkers. So Ugin, you know, you can play the turn after you play Vorinclex, you play Ugin, pop it immediately, draw cards. It's gonna be very hard to lose that game, right? You could play Vorinclex in the Elf deck. Ult the Elf Planeswalker immediately, draw cards. Cascade into Tibalt seems pretty decent. Yeah, I wanted to put Tibalt in here. I was talking about it. Should Tibalt be higher than, I don't know, the Dragon King Berserker? Tibalt's definitely in my top 10. I'm definitely gonna brew with Tibalt. I can't say that Tibalt's gonna like have lasting power. Gonna have staying power, but I am excited to play with it and brew with it and see how good it is. It could revitalize like Legacy and Modern value Cascade decks for sure. Those decks have been good. They have been good before, and they're like almost good enough now. So getting a really sweet thing to Cascade into could be really strong. You think Tibalt's better than both dragons on this list? It might be. The issue with Tibalt is if it ends up like not finding a home. That's certainly a thing that could happen. On paper, it looks like it's going to be good enough, but you don't actually know until you test it. I think Goldspan Dragon and Doomscar are both cards that are just like obviously going to see play, just obviously going to have a home, so they're more safe bets. That's kind of the issue with WUBRG too, right? Like, if it's good, then it should obviously make this... I feel like I should almost have 2 different lists for Eternal and Standard, because it's a little bit easier to predict the good Standard cards. I'll put Tibalt in here. We don't think Tibalt's good enough for Standard, right? Like I don't want to actually pay 7 mana for that Planeswalker. And I think the 2 mana side of Tybalt's like not amazing. It's not bad to have, like, play one of against an opponent if you like accidentally draw the card that you're supposed to cascade. You know, just like it's not that bad to suspend an Ancestral Vision instead of cascade into it if the hit's good enough. The 7 mana black-green Garruk doesn't see play. 7 mana black-green Garruk. Is that even in Standard anymore? The one that, like, pops opposing walkers? I thought there was just the 6 mana Garruk that, like, makes wolves or whatever. Yeah, let me know, Booty, though, for sure. I'll be testing it myself, too. Obviously, I've been playing with all of these cards. You do get the 7 mana side if you cascade in the 2-drop. Yeah, that's what makes Tybalt interesting. Turn 1 Thoughtseize and a turn 2 Valky sounds good to you? I'm not sure it is. In those formats, like, a Mesmeric Fiend is really underwhelming these days. And it's like a situational Mesmeric Fiend. It like doesn't even hit their spells. Like not all of your opponents in Modern and Legacy even have creatures to hit. And then you just have a Goblin Piker. And then like to consistently cascade into the Tybalt, like how many are you playing? Are you playing 4? If you're playing 4, you're gonna be drawing multiples a decent amount. And it's gonna suck. It's gonna be really bad. That's why I don't have Tybalt as like my #1. Even though I'm really excited to play with it, even though it's going to be very powerful when you do get to cascade into it. That's kind of like the ceiling, right? You gotta keep in mind the downside of the card. Not just a Piker, he has an activated ability. His activated ability requires you to hit a card. The activated ability doesn't do anything if the opponent is not playing creatures. The Tybalt's counterspell? Oh, I don't think that card's good enough, no. It's not touching my top X anything list. Top X meme cards. You like Righteous Valkyrie? What color is that? You like this one? Yeah. No, the card's certainly good. The issue is like having like enough angels or clerics that the ability is good. It's hard to give it like too much credit, right? You like the white XX Angels card? We talked about that over the white. I had some problems with that card, which I talked about. It's like clearly powerful, but I talked about it in the when we covered white. The issue with this card is when you have all of your mana in the late game and you top deck it, you don't get to immediately make a bunch of angels, because the way that Foretell works, you have to wait a turn. So you top deck your card that can like swing the game, and rather than just like play it and make your board or whatever, you have to time walk yourself, you have to foretell it. And then next turn you can make your pile of angels. So that's my big issue with this one. I do like that you can play it on turn 2 and flip it up on turn 3 and have an angel if it's if you have like a bad hand. Just like making a 4/4 on turn 3 isn't the worst thing ever. You can like trade with a Questing Beast or whatever. I do like that aspect of it. But it's hard for it to make my top 10 because of the reasons I listed. Someone else was pointing out that like white just gets the 7 mana, make 2 angels for free, you know, in the mana base. And maybe that makes Unleashed a little bit worse. I'm not as sold by that argument because like maybe you want both. There are decks that play 4 of the land token maker. Maybe they want this on top of it. The World Tree. I don't think the World Tree is making my top 10. It's an interesting card. It's a powerful card. You kind of like the White God? Yeah, I kind of like the White God too. Not top 10 material. The Tybalt's counterspell will certainly just be a meme deck. It seems pretty bad in a format where the opponent can just like counter it or make you discard it, right? Like Neoform is a deck that can protect itself. It can protect its win with Pact of Negation or Summer Veil or what have you. And it still suffers from the cheaper or free disruption that's in Modern. You think Nico is hard to evaluate? No, I don't think Tybalt's Treachery is a good counterspell for red. Yeah, I found this card hard to evaluate. It's not making my top 10 because I'm not convinced that it's good. I like that it gives you a lot of value. Even if your opponent answers your Planeswalker, you still have a lot of value lying around. But it's certainly clunky, right? If you need cards now, it's kind of brutal. Like, Sphinx's Rev is like 1 mana for 1 card, once you've paid the 3 mana up front. This card is 3 mana for 1 card. So you do get to split it up. The zombie 4/4 that steals opponent's killed creatures. I think that card is like, it fits in the snow deck. I don't know if the snow deck's gonna be good enough, so it's hard for me to list it. But yeah, it plays well with the Snow Sweeper too. I wonder if I should be listing any of the giants. Yeah, right now I have 8-ish cards. And an asterisk, another card. Yeah, I'm excited about Agar, but I think I might be like the only person excited about this card. Which is a bad sign. Oh, Jorn. Let's get Jorn on here. Yeah, this card's really good. Anyone who's played with Sword of Feast and Famine will realize how powerful this ability is to get like 2 uses out of your mana. Like you tap out, you can tap your mana, like answer your opponent's board, right? Like play a removal spell on their best thing so that the Jordan can attack. You attack, you untap your mana. You can even just use that to kill 2 things, right? You can play your sorcery speed removal spell, or Planeswalker answer your thing, attack, untap, play your instant speed removal spell. Just keep doing that. Jordan plays really well in aggro control decks, where you're where you can actually use that extra mana, develop your board and disrupt. And the flip side only works with snow permanents, but it's very, very good, like getting all that value. Wilderness Reclamation broke standard more recently than Sword of Feast and Famine. Yeah, but this is tied to a creature attacking. That's why I'm comparing it to Sword of Feast and Famine. Wilderness Reclamation, yeah, anyway. Yeah, it gives you a snow creature pseudo vigilance, and it itself is a snow creature. So it doesn't say vigilance on it, but it effectively has vigilance. With your 3 mana 3/3, that's like fine, right? The red-green snow dude. Oh, the one that spits out mana rocks? Yeah, that's cute, I guess. Just keep ramping. Alright, now I have a top 9. Top 9's pretty good. Got multiple red cards in here. So I could just put in like a counter spell or the draw spell or the murder. This is like a really good murder, right? Poison the cup. If this could destroy a Planeswalker too, it would probably be a rare. It would like be a sure-in. Sagas have to be in it. I have a Saga in here. I have Furia's Retribution, because that one seems like the best one to blink with Yorion. Yeah, I think the black removal spell, I might just include like all of the Foretell uncommons. Like, saw it coming. How do you rank like the murder over the cancel or the draw 2, right? I might just put them all together because they're like obviously going to see a lot of play in standard, and they're all going to see play in like the same fucking deck. Behold the Multiverse is good in combo and control, so maybe that gets the nod over the counterspell and stuff. All right, yeah, I think that's my top 10. The order might be off, because, like, obviously I haven't actually played with any of these cards. But these are the ones that I'm predicting will actually see play in Constructed. Some of them more in Standard, and some of them more in Eternal formats. Like, Tibalt, I'm mostly expecting in Eternal formats. Vorinclex, I'm mostly expecting in Standard. EDH, that sort of thing. Cool. And then I kind of talked about which runes I liked better for limited and that sort of thing already with like the full set review, so I don't think I need a ranking for those. Was Glimmer played in Modern a bit? Yeah, a little bit. Partially because it's like a flashback card for Gear Hulk or whatever, but it doesn't really see play in Modern anymore. I don't think Behold the Multiverse is going to see play in Eternal formats. Gravenlore might. Yeah, for sure, Aegis. Thanks for watching. Does anyone have any, No, Yorion cannot flip the god part. Wait, you're saying you play the front part and then use Yorion to flip them into the... You play the back part, you play the cheap equipment, and then you use Yorion to blink them into the front god parts. You could do that, yes. The issue is that like you're not getting a huge discount that way, right? Like you're spending 4 mana. Maybe this one. Maybe turning Haka into Alrund is worth with Yorion. That's kind of sweet. Yeah, Alrund I thought was interesting. But like with Halvar, you know, spending 2 mana and then Yorion blinking and getting a 4 mana card doesn't seem amazing to me. Doesn't seem like enough value. Could I put the top 10 list back on the screen for a bit? I could. I'm also down to like answer other questions if people have them. Before we dive into like playing a little bit of Vintage Masters here at the end of the stream. With Burgi, you want the back? I think the front side of Burgi is more exciting to me as a mana enabler. It's not just a brawl, right? It's tempting to look at Burgi and be like, oh, that's just a brawl, but the fact that it turns your Lotus Petals and LEDs and what, I think it becomes much, much easier to combo if you have Artifact Acceleration in your deck. And now your 1 mana rituals generate another mana. The difference between a Rite and Flame and a Dark Ritual, right? I do think that the card advantage side helps put it on the list for sure. And the fact that you have a mana card that can also be card advantage is really, really big for Storm. But then, yeah, I have a couple of shells that I was thinking about for Historic as well, even. So it might just see play in, like, every fucking format. Aegis with a $25 donation saying, said appreciation for set reviews that you mentioned earlier. Have a nice rest of stream and drink some warm water and honey for your throat. Hey, thanks, Aegis. I appreciate the donation, and as well as the sympathy for my throat and the advice. I think I'll be alright. There's only a couple more hours left in the stream, and I'm taking tomorrow off. I think tomorrow's a good day to take off. Give my voice a little bit of a break. Hey, good night, Bank. How do I rate Cosmina? I mean, I've talked about all these cards individually. Cosmina is a card that I didn't think was good enough. The one way people were talking about this card that sounded interesting to me was you play it, and then you against aggro, and you got your 3-mana 2/4 that blocks for the turn, and then you play your land and you blink it out and you play a sweeper. And the fact that you can like blink it out and then like be getting value like as you're killing the opponent's creatures. The fact that both halves of it line up well against sweepers, so you play it in your control deck as like a weird draw engine / finisher. That was the part that sounded semi-interesting. The issue is, this half of the card is not very good in a control deck. Like, you don't want to be playing a 2-mana 3/3 vehicle to try and, like, hit them and draw cards. And this half of the card is not consistent. You need to untap with this card before you can get any kind of value. And when you do untap with this card and play a land, you still haven't gotten value yet. You've just gotten to exile your creature. So, you pay your 3-mana card, you get your 2/4. It survives. Your opponent doesn't kill it for whatever reason. Maybe they've got other concerns going on. You play your land. You still have not drawn a card. You haven't done anything. All you've done is exile your creature. You spent 2 turns to exile your own creature and not have anything in play. So how many more turns before you actually bring it back into play? The turn you bring it back into play, you're also not adding another counter to. You're not drawing a card. So I like that it's good with sweepers, but I don't think the card is good enough otherwise. I think it takes too long to do anything. It exiles itself. Oh, that's true. Yeah, the turn you exile it, that's fair. You are putting a counter on it the turn you exile it. But you're not getting a counter on it the turn you play it. And you're not getting a counter on it the turn that you bring it back. You think it's really good with fetch lands? Yeah, I mean, how many... As like a flash blocker? It's a flash blocker that you're telegraphing, though, so it's not quite as good as like playing a resto from your hand. Or like playing the new angel that like flashes and then you exile your things. I think that card's kind of interesting, too. That card maybe deserves to be on the top 10 list. If I was doing a top 10 standard cards, the angel would make the cut for sure. Maybe a top 10 standard cards would have made more sense than what I did. And there's also just like not that many fetches in standard. What cards am I most excited to brew with? Bergie, Tybalt, the Dwarf Lord. I don't know if I'll actually get around to the Dwarf Lord, but I've got some ideas. Fire a fucking Blightsteel into play. Your 3-drop's already crowded. Right. Yeah. Your 3-drop is crowded. The card's kind of situational. I don't see it. I could be wrong. This card could just like be nutty. And then like a year from now, everyone's gonna be like, yeah, obviously it was the best card of the set, Caleb, you idiot. And I'm like, yeah. But that's alright. All I can do is give you my opinion, having never actually played with the cards before. It is easier to hedge negative. Cards are usually not the bee's knees. Cards are usually bad. The angel doesn't flicker though. It does when it dies. Restoration Angel by itself, even if you don't have anything to blink for value, is still a good enough card. It's still a card that's like eating your opponent's things, and you get to play it alongside counter spells and hold it up and stuff. And so this angel doesn't blink, but I think it's still good. You're still like saving your board from a sweeper or a creature from a removal spell or whatever. And then if they actually answer your angel, you get to bring it back. It also has Foretell, super relevant. That you can surprise flash on turn 3, eat their thing. I think this card's really good. What cards have I terribly misevaluated before? Wilderness Reclamation comes to mind. There was another one. There was another egregious one that I like super whiffed on, but I can't remember what it was. That was more recent. Oh well. Yeah, I thought Wilderness Reclamation as something that like didn't impact the board and costing 4 mana was gonna be a hard one to justify. I thought it would only be played in like counterspell decks. I wasn't really giving it credit for how easy it was to ramp with it, and then the interaction with fucking what was the name of that card? The one in the blue enchantment that would flip, and people would like activate it multiple times per turn with Wilderness Reclamation. I like didn't think about that interaction, and then doubling your mana to be able to play the instant speed time walk was obviously something that I didn't think about. It's obviously something that Wizards didn't think about either, so I guess I don't feel that bad. But yeah, that was what I whiffed on. Yeah, Nexus was hella rude. Varragoth? Well, Varragoth, I mean, 3 mana for a 2/3 Death Touch is, like, fine in limited, and then you can tutor the best card in your deck to the top of your deck. So this is, like, yeah, certainly a good limited card. Usually you want to evaluate rares for constructed, and this one, I don't think, like, holds up in most formats. I am going to test it. I'm going to test it in Legacy alongside Opposition Agent. I've got a mono black aggro deck that I have quad Opposition Agent in. So the Boast here might be cool. That deck was also like short on playable creatures, so it doesn't take much for it to be good enough. The Boast would be cool to just like tutor the best card out of the opponent's deck and just have it. Yeah, I don't miss Nexus at all. Wilderness Wreck is the reason you're thinking the 4-mana artifact might be good. Which 4-mana artifact? Two Love Black is cast Bluff Dark Ritual. Yeah, you don't really want to be playing this turn 1. It's kind of a weak opener to like play this turn 1 and then activate the Boast on turn 2. I don't think that's good enough. But if you're going like turn 1 discard spell, turn 2 discard spell, play this on turn 3, and then maybe with a Chrome Mox or an Ancient Tomb or something, you can play Opposition Agent and Boast and start like getting value. Does Egon belong in the top 10? No. No, I think this card sucks. If you're investing 3 mana in a creature, you kind of need it to live, you know? You kind of need it to stick around. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this card's actually good. It depends on how easy it is to like keep your graveyard stacked, right? But you can't play this card and have it just be around for a turn or two and then sacrifice it. Like you kind of need you're playing it as a creature. You're not playing it as a threat that like you randomly have to sacrifice. Once you've invested the mana, you kind of need to kill people if you're playing it as like an aggro finisher. It's no Rotting Regisaur is what I'm getting at. And then the flip side doesn't really appeal to me either. It's nice as like if you draw multiples, you know, if you draw multiples, then the throne is then feeding the front side. But hey, to Wumbo, thanks to the sub, thanks to the 49 months. Yeah, it's not quite cumulative upkeep. It's just at the beginning of your upkeep, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. So it's actually kind of similar to Jotun Grunt, if you ever played with that card. That card had cumulative upkeep, but it was also like nuking your opponent's graveyard. Jotun Grunt would actually be like interesting in a Uro metagame. Probably still not good enough these days, but interesting. Draw card's a great ability. Are you talking about the other side? If my 3 mana 6/6 dies because I don't have the cards to keep it alive, and my opponent gets to live because I have to sack my thing, then I'm not as thrilled about drawing a card as I might be normally. And it's not amazing. Regisaur some play. Regisaur saw a lot of play And I do know, because Regisar doesn't have this downside. Regisar doesn't... This would be like if Regisar had the ability, if you can't discard a card, sacrifice Regisar. And that card would not have seen as much play, right? Right, you only draw a card when you have to sack it too. Do I think the Throne is good? No, I think it's pretty mana intensive. You have to exile a creature card from your graveyard, so it's not any card. You have to exile a creature card, and then you draw a card, and then you have to pay 1 to play it, and 3 to activate. I think the black castle has spoiled me, where I just get to have like a better version of this for free in my mana base. I think the only reason you're playing Throne is because you've already drawn your Egon, God of Death, and you just want to like fill up your graveyard more. Scooz is also really good. Yeah. Yeah, right? Your opponent just has a Scavenging Ooze, so your 3 mana 6/6 just dies immediately. If Crew 6 is relevant, I do not think Crew 6 will be relevant, but sure, if it is, then you could look at this card. You want to put Cleave on it? That's fair. If you put a Cleave on this card, it doesn't have to live very long before the opponent is dead. Play this and Regisar and Cleave. I think you need to be filling up your graveyard, though. You need playing like some self-mill action. Hard to fit all the cards for that. That's the thing. Like, these reviews are also without me seeing how the standard format is going to evolve and without actually playing with the cards. So here I am saying that I don't think Egon is playable. But there could be synergies that I'm missing. There could be shifts that I'm missing. I could be misevaluating a part of the card. Like, for example, underrating the Death Touch in combination with something like Embercleave. I still don't think Egon is going to be a top 10 card in the set, but there's always room for error. I am only human. Sideboard card versus rogues? Yeah, I guess. Against rogues, if this dies, I suppose you don't even mind that much, huh? Trades with their 1 mana 4/2. Yeah. Is Crippling Fear gonna see standard play? Oh yeah, we talked about this a little bit. It seemed like a rogue sideboard card, huh? Or like if you had green black elves as a deck, you could board this in with green black elves. I could see it for sure. It's like the inverse of Witch's Vengeance. Interesting card. Like, thanks for everybody for catching the set review. This was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I'm glad I did it.